when I first moved into this house, basements are a new thing for me. I'm up here in the Midwest. There's very few houses down in Texas that have a basement. And so I was like, oh, it's perfect. I'll work in the basement. That worked all of maybe a day and a half. First of all, it was right below like the main entry. So anytime and it's wood floor above me, and there's obviously no insulation to sound barrier, any of that. So it sounded like, we were being attacked anytime like anything walked. Like I could hear my dog's tail wag from up there. You could hear like someone getting water out of the fridge. It was just way too loud. Also, there's just this really hideous, which I can't seem to get off, rainforest border that's stuck at the top of these. And so I really had to like play with the camera angle. My daughters I could have taken one of the bedrooms and made it an office, but my daughters we gave them each their own room when they moved here. So I didn't want to kind of boot one of them out just after we moved. So this is where I landed. This is my beautiful sunroom.
It is so beautiful.
Got the greatest office at Sibme. I think I've got 3 window, walls.
You've got the corner office.
That's right. I got the corner office. So, and it works for me pretty well, but it's not climate controlled. So, there have been like times where I'm like on camera in a training session and I'm like, it's getting up to like 90 in here because it's a tin roof. And if I open the windows, which is great when I'm by myself, but you'll hear like crows sometimes get kind of loud out here. You're like, sometimes I'm like, what is that? Or I get distracted by the groundhog that runs and tries to eat the plants. Or my kids' neighbors are outside, or, the tornado siren every Wednesday at 12 goes off for a good 5 minutes. And so I've got to make sure I'm mindful of that if I have a Wednesday meeting. So, and then in the summer, this is the worst place to be because I'm in the thick of all the play. And so if I need a quiet space, but I'm right with you, Jennie. I have been finding, especially in the winter, the dining table is my space. And then I just pick up everything and quickly move it out of the way whenever it's time for the day to end. And for me, it's making sure I close my laptop down and really I've gotten really better. I did have to really work on not constantly working. I'm a bit of a busy person anyway. And so that's just something I've been having to be very conscious about, but it works. So, so if you have that space, definitely, but you may not, and that's okay. You don't need to have an office necessarily. Make your office
and I would add too, it totally depends on the type of meeting, right? Like if you're having a client meeting or different meetings require different levels of total silence, but especially for internal meetings, if you're, lucky enough to have a great work culture, I love hearing your birds chirping out your window, Cory, and you guys just heard my dog bark. And I think especially at this time, we all need to lower our stress. And so hopefully you have a type of work environment that it's okay if your dog barks, it's okay if the birds are chirping, and again, there's different levels that are required for different types of meetings, but we're all in this together. And I think I'm the type of person, and I think, the 3 of us all kind of share this, where I could really stress myself out about trying to have a perfectly silent environment for this meeting. And that's not stress that anybody's putting on me. In fact, you guys have all seen my little kiddo's head, bob past these meetings. And, sometimes he tells me he has to go potty and
the things kids yell. My son threw something towards someone else earlier, and we weren't recording yet, but Jennie, I think, was still on the call, and I went in there and I'm trying to referee something that I didn't see at all. And she's like, he hit me. And he's like, I just threw the pencil toward her. And I'm like, why are we throwing pencils? And so hey, everyone can hear you over there. And he's like, why didn't you mute it? So babe.
You gotta get real fast with that mute button too.
Yeah, exactly. Really fast. Or if so the part of the problem with being on video is you can't be like, oh, I'm going through a tunnel. What's that? And that doesn't work. So,